Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So, here we are again on my day off. I just had a nice bath with some lavender and some lemon oil, and it was delicious, wonderful, very relaxing. I am wearing my. Whoop, sorry about that. Almost dropped the phone. Almost dropped it again. I am wearing my Goku shirt, which means it is time for another Dragon Ball character analysis. And today, we are doing the Ox. Ox King, that is, of course. So, without further ado, I will go into it. Now, in my last one, we discussed Roshi, and we're going to be going a little bit deeper this time because Roshi was max power, and we didn't really cover a whole lot, just how the ability works and what it exactly gives Roshi. This time, we're doing the Ox King. Saiyan Motion, wonderful Saiyan Motion, did a great story about what if Ox King raised Goku. And the story is very nice. It rolls out pretty well, but he got a lot of things wrong. And I'm saying this because it's going to have to be corrected. He got the dates off, for one thing. He said that Goku was like 8, which he wasn't. He was 12. And of course, in the Super timeline, if you go by that, he was actually a little older in the pod, so that would have made him like 14. So anyway, here's the thing. He said that Ox King's power was like 130 at the start of the series, where we fight him with Goku. That's not the case. According to, well, the Tree of Might, as well as a couple of games, his power level is 900. And that is the official recorded power level. That is what we go by. The thing is before he met up with Goku, he had actually stopped training for a while, which means his power level would have been going down. Let's take this a step at a time. All right. So we know that Ox King died at the age of 80 in 779, or in the sub, it was 75 at the age of 774, which means we just had to backtrack a few years to get his birth year, which was 699. His birth year was 699, and that means that between 699 and the year that he fought Goku, which was 748, 749, roughly, we're not sure exactly which year it was because of Goku's birthday being weird. He was either 49 or 50, which means that he had not been training in a while. He already had no ki control. He has no ability to use the Kamehameha or Ki Blast or anything like that. So he can't do any of that, which automatically means his lifespan is going to be shorter than Roshi's because Roshi had his prolonged life due to his ability to use ki. And then he used that power to obtain some form of immortality. I'm not sure exactly what that was. I haven't looked a whole lot into that, but I can tell you that it was basically just hacks. Like, literally, it's stated in the story that anybody who can use ki will have a longer lifespan than an average person. So, there's that. All right, back to Ox King. So, he can't use ki. He was like 50 when we rolled into the story. He hadn't been training in a while, which means that his power has been dropping slowly over the years as his body declines. The average person hits their physical peak in their 30s and their mental peak in their 40s, which means I'm going to be going into my mental peak in a few years. I'm currently in my physical peak right now at the age of 32. But Ox King hit those peaks, and now he's starting to go down. So, because he has no ki control, and he didn't train much before we met Goku, his power level several years later in the Tree of Might would actually have been lower than what it was when Goku faced him. So either he's stagnant on a plateau or he's been going downhill. Either way, his power level was not 130 in the original Dragon Ball series. Now, there is the argument to be made that he did train Chi-Chi for a while. while she was preparing for the tournament to face Goku. And he might have gained a small boost from that. He might have gotten a little bit back into shape. And in fact, he might have started working out again after the Tree of Might movie. Because we see him in Super and he is jacked. Like, he's got to be in his late 60s, you know. No, actually, he has to be in his 70s at this point. Yeah. So he's getting close to death at this point, according to the Super timeline. And if we go past GT, then that rewrites the whole story and everything, but that'll change a whole lot. However, going by the timeline that we currently have, at like 70 years old, 72, 73, this dude is ripped. Like, he is 3 times more muscular than he was in, like, any of the other Dragon Ball content that we've seen. So during Battle of the Gods, he was beast. Like, he was huge. So he must have been training. So he might have got some power back. Like, you know, maybe a couple hundred. I don't know. But what I can tell you is, if he was slowly on the decline, that means that when he fought Goku, his power would have been close to a Cyberman's. So, 1100, maybe 1200. I don't think he would have been any higher than that. But he was the most powerful person on the planet at the time, as far as raw physical strength and durability goes. I mean, Goku kicked him as hard as he could, and Ox King felt nothing. Like, he didn't even register that there was a kick. Like, he was just kind of annoyed, but he was also having a good time because he thought it was funny. He was angry, but he thought it was hilarious that Goku was fighting him, because he felt none of those attacks. And when Goku, even at his earliest stages, like we saw him, with a power level of like 10 or 12, when he hits you, you know it. Like, there has not been a single character in the entire series that Goku has punched or kicked that did not feel it, except Ox King. He's the only one. Which always made me wonder, why hasn't Ox King played a more, like, active role? And I'm assuming that he was just starting to feel his age and going downhill, and he knew it. So he just stepped out of the combat zone because he couldn't use ki like everybody else could. Even Gohan, Grandpa Gohan, could use ki, albeit slightly, but he could. He had that ability. He didn't really teach Goku how to do it, but he could use it. He had some level of energy to him. Ox King is pure brute. He can't use ki, which is why his lifespan was so short. I believe Gohan lived to be, like, over 100, if I remember correctly, because he was Roshi's student before he might have trained. He was a few years ahead of Ox King, but he was old, even by, like, you know, Dragon Ball standards. So if Roshi was, like, you know, a couple hundred years old, then Gohan was probably almost 100, 120, something like that. I haven't checked his actual dates, but I do know he was up there in the years. He was beyond a regular mortal lifespan, I believe. So, yeah. The ki control really did help. Back to Ox King. So, he died because of his lack of ki control at, like, a young age, basically, for characters in Dragon Ball. You know, 80. He died roughly around the time of Saiyan starts going downhill. The thing about this is that it's his power level I'm most focused on. Because he could have been so much better as a character. He was so strong. I don't know why he was afraid of Piccolo. Like, Demon King Piccolo was weaker than he was. By a lot. In fact, even by the time Raditz showed up, Goku's power level was only in the 400s. Ox King was still double that. Now, when Goku powered up and fired off his full power Kamehameha, that was about 923 or something like that. So he passed Ox King barely. But yeah, anyway, that's Ox King, you know? And we're at 10 minutes, so I'm out of time. I messed around too much. Anyway, peace. Thanks for watching.